Video I'm going to share with you my first and only experience so far with art.com, and it has not been a good one. They have proven themselves to be pretty incompetent and unprofessional, especially for a company called art.com, which is web-based delivery of prints and framed artwork. So we decided that for our bedroom we wanted to put up some Alphonse Mucha prints, and we looked through all the variety that they had on art.com. Art.com seemed to have a better variety and better quality style, like for example Giclée prints, than some other websites. So we found this series, which is Mucha's times of day. We've got morning, noon, evening, and night, but we only had room for 3 of them on our wall based on the dimensions. So we decided to get 3 of this series, and you can tell they all go together. They've got similar painted, illustrated framing right there on the print, and they're the same size and dimensions for each painting, for each print. So we went on to art.com and we looked up night and morning and evening, and we were going to put them in chronological order, so morning, then evening, then night. And so to do this, we looked at the sizes and we saw that the Giclée print, which is the higher quality paper and color reproduction, which would look a lot nicer, we decided to spring for that. It's more expensive, $75 without the matting or framing. Came out to be about $200 per print with the matting and framing. And they have an option where you can have it auto cropped so that it crops directly to the image size. In this case, you can see the image is right here in the middle, and then it's just white paper all the way around it. So if we didn't crop it, we would have had a big square with lots of space. Not really designed to be that way. So with the cropping, it should be 9.5 inches wide, because it was a 24 by 32 piece of paper that we ordered it on. That was the size of Giclée print. And it ends up being 9.5 by 29, according to their crop dimensions. Then for some reason, the evening one is specified at 9.5 by 28.5, even though it's the same type of print, the same series, and actually the same size of illustration. They were cropping it a ½ inch shorter for some reason. And I didn't really like that. I didn't understand it. All other 3 prints in this series are listed at 9.5 by 29. But we figured, since this one was going in the middle and it was going to be surrounded by these other 2, which say 9.5 by 29 inches on both sides, we figured that ½ inch wouldn't really be that noticeable, and it would be symmetrical because we'd have the longer prints on either side and a slightly shorter one in the middle. Wouldn't be too bad. We were willing to deal with it, even though I don't understand why the same series and the same size illustration has a different crop size associated with it online. So anyway, we got the order about 3 weeks later. This was in early August. August 2nd we placed this order. We got a confirmation right away. Ship notice was given on August 9th, and then about 2 weeks after that the order arrived at our steps. But it was interesting that these 2, night and evening, were bundled together in a box, and morning was in a separate box without a packing slip for some reason. These 2 had a packing slip with it, and this one did not, so it was almost like they came from 2 different places or something. I'm not sure, but let's go take a look at what they actually sent us. So here are the 3 prints they sent, in addition to one other one that we ordered, which was okay because it was just a pre-framed print that wasn't a Giclée one, didn't have to be cropped. And you can see we've got morning, evening, and night here. But what the problem is that the morning one is longer up. You can see it doesn't line up. And when we actually ordered it, if you recall, it was supposed to be that the morning one and the night one were actually the same size. But if we look at the cropping here, we can see there's a 1/4 inch. I'll use a tape measure here, something that art.com apparently isn't capable of doing. We got a 1/4 inch there and a 1/4 inch on the sides. So we've got a 1/4 inch around the actual image size for the cropping. Then we've got our matting and our frame, and the matting and the frame are nice and the right type that we ordered. Here again, we've got a 1/4 inch around the image on the sides and on the top. Here on morning, we've got a 1/4 inch on the side and almost a whole inch on the top and bottom here. And so you can see the cropping is completely different. Big old gap at the bottom of the image, only a small gap, 1/4 inch gap on the bottom of the image. And that's what causes the framing size to be off. Now if we look at the actual dimensions here of the sizing, we can see that the crop size here actually came out to be 28 inches, not 29 and not 28.5 like it had specified on the website. Fortunately, the framer, for whoever did this one, had a brain of their own and was able to figure out that the size in the computer that they had logged was not correct. These should not be 29 inch crop sizes, they should be 28 inch crop sizes, which is perfect. for getting that printed image in there. And you can see they are, in fact, the same size. Same thing when we go across here, at the bottom, that size was correct. It's 9.5, which is what they listed on their website. Now when we go to day, or morning, we have 9.5 inches across, which is correct. But then we have, from top to bottom here, there's the top of the framing, all the way down here to number 29 at the bottom. So you can see they kept the 9.5 by 29 dimension for this. They were smart enough to fix it on the other two and make it 9.5 by 28 for both of these. It really should be 9.5 by 28 for all three because they're the exact same size printed image on the paper. So they really had the same wrong size in their database for the 9.5 by 29 ones, and the 9.5 by 28.5 were both incorrect. It should be 9.5 by 28. So what I did immediately as soon as we opened the boxes and saw that there was a problem and measured them out, I took some photos of it and I emailed support@art.com saying, hello, I'm writing because I'm going to need to return a framed print to fix the frame size. We ordered 3 prints from the same artist, all part of a series that will be hanging side by side. All printed images are the same size on paper because they're part of a matched series. So they should be cropped and framed identically, but they are not. 2 of the 3 are the same, and the third has an additional ½ inch left above and below the printed image, thus framed and matted 1 inch too long compared to the others. For some reason, this erroneous print did not have a packing slip included in the packaging. The other 2 prints were packaged together and had a packing slip, but this one was separate and did not have a packing slip. I'm attaching some photos so you can see the discrepancy. The longer print has too big of a matting area and thus is framed too long. So I've got that right here. It is 36 inches long, framed with a 29-inch long matting cutout or window, and it should be a 28-inch tall matting cutout, or 1/2 inch less space at the top and bottom, and a 35-inch frame, so basically 1 inch smaller all around, half at the top and half at the bottom. So we can see here, I took some photos, I added them as JPEG attachments, 1/2 inch too big open window at the top compared to this other one that was sent to us with only this small 1/4 inch white space at the top. And then I also took a picture comparing the sizes of the 2 frames on the ground, and you can see the one is 1 inch longer. Well, their response was, thank you for contacting art.com. I profusely apologize for the inconvenience you have experienced. Please note that due to security precautions on the shared email address, do not allow the viewing of any attachments. Also, as per the industry norm, there is a variation for the 0 to 2 inches. However, I would request that you to please reply back to us with the name or item number so that we can issue a return label for the same. Be sure to specify your preferred resolution, free replacement or refund. If you have any additional requests, please feel free to write back and I shall be more than happy to help you. So this didn't make me very happy, them telling me that even when you have 3 prints that are identically sized from the same artist, from the same series that actually go together, that they're telling me the industry standard is that they can be up to 2 inches off in their dimensions of framing. Something doesn't seem right to me. I've never heard of such a thing, that when you get something framed, they can make mistakes and errors up to 2 inches, and that's okay. So I let them know that. I wrote back and said, gave them the item number and the name of the item, repeated the problem here, and I said I would like to get a replacement, but only if the size can be corrected. If all I can get is another improperly cropped and framed image, then I would like to get a refund for the entire order, which is almost $700, because no, it is not industry standard to allow for up to 2 inches framing difference between identically sized prints that are designed to be hung together on the wall as a series. This series includes Morning, Afternoon, Evening, and Night by Alphonse Mucha. He has other similar series, such as the 4 Seasons. They were designed to go together and be hung side by side, so I'm not sure how any variation in sizing can be justified. I would love to read an industry standard document that claims otherwise if you can point me to one. It's simply unacceptable. I don't know why you would not be allowed to open photo, image, or standard format JPEG attachments. It's not possible for any malware or virus to be attached to a JPEG image. Please let me know whether the sizing issue can be corrected. If so, I would like to return it for a replacement. If not, I will be requesting a full refund return label for all 3 prints in the series, and will be sharing my negative experience with review sites due to the hassle and loss of money, because they expect you to pay for the shipping, and ridiculous response I've received here, because the industry standard for print series that go together as a set is, in fact, to keep them cropped and framed identically and correctly. So obviously I was a little ticked off at this point that they were saying it was okay for them to frame and crop one of the prints up to 2 inches bigger than the other prints when they're the exact same size and part of a series. So of course they could tell I was upset, and they just got back to me saying, I sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. I would request you to call our toll-free customer support number. One of our representatives will be happy to assist you with your concern. This is into September now, so it's been about a month since I first ordered the prints at this point. So I went ahead and called them at their customer support number and spoke to a representative, and she was really trying to help remediate the problem. And they had already had notes about the order based on these emails I had sent. And so when I talked to her on the phone, she assured me that they would be able to send a replacement, and I wouldn't have to worry about shipping the return back, since it was just the one item. They were going to just let me hold onto it, and they were going to send a replacement with the correct sizing. And she said she put a note into the order system, into their customer support database, to make notes about what she had told me, and that they were going to send a replacement to me free of charge with the correct sizing. But she wanted me to send an email to returns to give them some photos of what the problem is, and the description, again, even though I had described it several times. So this time I explicitly wrote an email to returns@art.com that said, "Hello, I've spoken to a support rep over the phone, and she requested I send photos of my problem and request for a replacement framed print to be sent." So I gave them the item number again, the order number, the problem that was cropped incorrectly with an extra ½ inch of white space above and below the printed image, resulting in an additional 1 inch of height compared to the other images. And you can see the difference of height in the photo. I attached the photos again and said, "Please send a replacement of this with the same matting, the same glass and framing, but cropped to the correct size." And I explicitly gave them the correct sizing. Correct sizing should be, and there it is. So they sent a replacement order, and a few weeks later they said it was delayed, and then after some weeks went by, we got this art.com package. It's the same size container. They wrap it in this cardboard. Now I'd already gotten rid of the other cardboard because, as you can see, this is pretty enormous. Their packaging and their shipping containers are pretty big. We didn't have room to have several of these laying around, which is what we had. So when they assured me that the replacement order would be okay, I just went ahead and got rid of them. Well, here's the replacement that arrived, and as soon as I took it out, I knew there was a problem because I saw the same extra gap of cropping at the top, even though I had specified the exact sizes in that email to them. So when we lay this down on top of our existing morning print, let's compare it. It is 100% identical. There's not a single difference, nothing that they fixed or changed with it, despite being told specifically in the email the exact dimension it needs to be, despite being told that these other ones are not leaving an extra inch of cropping at the top and bottom, or an extra ½ inch at the top and bottom. And when I talked to them on the phone, I specifically pointed out, when the customer service lady was talking to me, she said that these were supposed to be 9.5 by 28 by 29, and I told her that's not actually the case, that they should be 9.5 by 28, and that these two were in fact cropped correctly despite the directions in the computer, which were incorrect, and that we figured we might as well just get the third one cropped correctly to go along with it, rather than having them reship these with the wrong size that they have in their computer system. But apparently they're going to go by whatever's in the computer, regardless of photos being sent to them, specific explicit directions, exact measurements being taken. They're incapable of apparently using rulers or tape measures, and I don't know if you can really trust a art framing company that can't simply frame something to a certain width and a certain height. So obviously at this point I'm pretty ticked off. I mean, they got the order wrong in the first place. Either way you look at it, either you can look at it that they got the morning print correct and the other two were incorrect. The way I look at it is that they actually fixed the other two from the incorrect measurements they had, but didn't fix the morning one. That's kind of understandable the first time, but when I call them and email them and then write to them with photos and an exact description with the exact dimensions of the size they need to make it, and they still don't fix the problem, then that's real cause for concern. At this point, it's taken about 2 months of my time to deal with this, several hours over the phone and email and waiting around. I've had boxes laying around, I've had prints laying around because I can't hang them up until I have all three ready to go. So I called them immediately on September 22nd I said, how on earth did art.com get my replacement order wrong again? You shipped the exact same incorrectly cropped item as the first time. It just arrived with the exact same incorrect cropping as the first one I complained about. When I called for the incorrect item on my order, I was told to post photos of the problem and give information for the correct sizing in an email to returns, which I did. Here's what it said. So I quoted the exact email that I had sent to them. And I just don't understand how this could even happen. For any company that claims to know what they're doing and has been in the business for several years now doing this, I don't understand where the incompetence and the buffoonery comes from, but it seems like I'm dealing with a bunch of clowns here. So at this point, I don't really know what to do. I called their customer support number before writing this email, but I was on hold for about 15 minutes, which gave me the time to write this big long email and say what I wanted to say to them over the phone. And then when I talked to them on the phone, they weren't really so helpful this time. They said, well, oh well, the numbers we have here show that it's 9.5 by 29. I said, yes, but you cropped the other ones to 9.5 by 28, so I need them either cropped to the sizes that were quoted on the website or cropped to the 28 inches, which is the actual correct size. Either way would work. The 28 inches would be better. And rather than saying they could ship a replacement this time, I just said, forget it. Why don't you just refund my whole order and I'll ship them back to you? But the problem is, remember those huge box sizes that I showed you of all the shipping containers? I didn't have room for that, and when they assured me 100% over the phone that the replacement order would be the correct sizing, I went ahead and recycled those cardboard shipping containers. So now they expect me to spend my time and my money and my effort to go and get packaging materials and somehow wrap these and take them to a shipping company to send them back to them. Forget it, it's not going to happen. I'm not spending another dime of my money, and I don't want to spend another minute of my time on fixing such a simple, stupid problem that they should have been able to do right in the first place, and definitely, if not, to get it right in the second place with exact dimensions and instructions right here. So at this point, I've just opened a Better Business Bureau dispute. It's a real problem. The dispute has not been resolved yet. For some reason, it looks like they're shipping me now replacements for all 3 prints. I'm not sure why, when 2 of them are perfectly fine, why they would need to send me all 3 all over again. My guess is they'll probably be now back to the 29 inch or 28.5, whatever incorrect sizing they had on the website, and I'll still have 3 incorrectly sized prints, or maybe I'll have 5 incorrectly sized prints at that point. So I really don't know what's going to happen. They haven't arrived in the mail. They've sent me a shipping label, but when I told them I needed the shipping packaging to be given to me also, since I had gone ahead and recycled that, I never heard back. So not really sure what's going on at this point with art.com. I'll post an update here once I find out if they fix the problem or if they prove themselves to be even bigger clowns than they already have been. I'll let you know. But in the meantime, really looks like a company not to do business with. I would advise any other art or print solution. I don't know, take it to the mall, take it to a framing shop, even if it's more expensive. I don't know, buy the print on its own from somewhere and then crop it and frame it yourself.